think you want tension because there's a lot of creative, interesting tests that you can come up with that solve important problems, but at the same time, if your test doesn't give you reliable data, then you're still just guessing. You're still just guessing about your customers. So as a marketer, as a creative, you want to push the limits to what you can do and what you can squeeze out of the test, but at the same time, you have to listen to your data scientists and your analytics team members that you have, just to make sure that the results you're getting from a test matter and are reliable. I would say there's also another tension that I think is important, particularly for this course, is there's a tension between, I think, marketing as well as or art as well as kind of practical timelines and getting things up. And I think it's important to utilize your creative, your designers, your graphic artists, and utilize their skill at taking a hypothesis and interpreting it and articulating it into a nice visual, because a nice visual can go a long way in impacting your results. But at the same time, the best way to work with that team, your graphic artist team, is to make sure that your main, whatever they're coming up with to articulate your hypothesis is maintaining the integrity of that. So there's also a tension between the creative side and the hypothesis interpretation and articulation side. And so there's always a balance there as well.
Thomas Kuhn's famous book on scientific revolutions is a book that in indirect ways addresses this. And the only thing I would say that's critical is that, and by the way, the premise of the book, part of it is that we don't just work scientifically, we have flashes of insights that are critical, that no one just follows deductive logic to a conclusion, but that inductive logic is a critical piece. And the way they work together is part of what makes the magic. In this case, I would just add this one component. It takes rigor and science to look at the data and to interpret it and to create frameworks from it, but it takes art to know how to translate that into a valuable hypothesis and its articulation. The development of the hypothesis itself is not just a piece of science. It's a creative, intuitive pattern recognition phenomenon that you often get better at with experience. And what I would encourage in those departments where there's almost a natural tension in some of these big companies is we are not wanting to replace art with science. We're wanting to use science to get the most value out of the art and the artistic ability that we have inside the organization. Together, they're powerful and they serve one another.